What up though? It's T. I'm back in the park for another Tea with T. So today we're going to shift gears and we're going to focus on consumer finances. Just a few best practices I think that everyone should be doing in order to stay on top of their finances. Featured tea of the day is from South Africa. It is called Honeybush tea. Guys, when I say this tea is the bomb, it's the bomb. I actually found some on Amazon for you guys, but I did get it here at a local coffee, spice, and tea shop here in Metro Detroit. Actually, in Detroit, I got the tea at Germax Coffee, Spice, and Tea. It's so good, you guys, and it has tons of good health properties. It's 100% organic, reddish and brown in color, and has a slightly sweet taste to it. It's an anti-spasmodic, antidepressant, anti-inflammatory, which is really important because the mister gets arthritis in his shoulders from being a Marine and from lifting weights. And I give him a few cups of tea, and it actually helps with the pain. It helps it subside. It also has a lot of antiviral properties, and it has tons of antioxidants in it. Pick you guys up some. If you're here in the Metro Detroit area, go by Germax and check them out. They have tons of good tea, you guys. I am in heaven when I walk into that place. It is a loose tea, so you will need one of these handy dandy loose tea sippers. However, this thing was about $2-3 at Germax, so I picked it up. I love loose tea. They just seem to have more oomph to them. In any event, let's get right down to business. Tip 1 on managing your finances is knowing your net worth. Your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. What you're bringing in monthly, and I say monthly because we tend to pay our bills monthly, minus your bills and expenses monthly. If you guys need a good budget sheet, I have one. Email me at misunderstood, double zeros, not double O's, t@gmail.com, and I can email you a really good spreadsheet that I have that I've set up that helps me, and it will calculate everything for you. And it also has a lot of categories of things that you may not consider expense, like gas. It actually has a lot of expenses that you may not consider are bills, like your monthly gas that you put in your car. Child care is a bill. Books and groceries, all of those are bills. So I actually have a really good budget template that you guys can use. Just email me if you want it, or if not, write down everything, write down every bill that you have and calculate that total. That is the total of expenses. And then we can go on from there in knowing what you have as disposable income. Now that disposable income is what you have left over after you pay all your bills, and we'll get into savings and investing a little bit later on down the line in our Financially Fit series. So any event, tip 1, know your net worth. Know your net worth. I cannot stress that enough. You need to know exactly what you have coming in and what you have going out. So tip number 2 is setting goals for yourself. Set financial goals. I can't not stress that enough as well, because it is important for us to have goals, not only in life when it comes to our careers, but financial goals. If you plan on buying a house in the future, you need to set a goal for that. How much of a house can you afford, or do you want? Because you may be able to not be able to afford the house you want now, but you will be able in the future if you set financial goals. Set a financial goal if you want to buy a certain particular type of car, if you want to pay off a certain amount of debt in a certain amount of time. Set financial goals. It's important to have goals, and it's important to write those goals down so that you can visualize them, so that you can meditate on them, and that you can see them come into fruition. Setting goals is very, very important in the financial world. It's important to sit down with a banker and sit down with an investor and see what your savings options are. And if you have children, it's important to set goals for their financial future. It's just important to save and to set financial goals, you guys. So tip number 3 that I have for you guys as a banker is you need to keep your banking on point. It's very important for a single person to have at least 2 checking accounts and 2 savings accounts, and that will help you differentiate between your financial goals. Your first checking account is going to be the one for bills, and that all your income is funneled into, and that's where you do your dispersing of your funds. The second checking account is going to be for leisurely purposes. It's going to be the one that you're going to use for partying, the one that you're going to be using for shopping. That way you can see your money and see where it's going. The 2 savings accounts, one is going to be for vacation purposes, and one is going to be for emergency purposes only. And I won't say just vacation, because if you have a certain financial goal in mind, then you have a separate savings account for that. and your second savings account for emergency purposes. If something happens to your car, your child, if you have an emergency where you have to go to the hospital and pay an emergency health bill, you have that second savings account, and you know you have a nest egg there for yourself. It's important to treat savings as a bill. Pay yourself. You're paying all these other companies and you're not paying yourself. You're not saving. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Save $25 every 2 weeks. Save $50 every 2 weeks. Do what you can, but it's important for us to save. Now, for married couples, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this, but I always recommend my married couples have at least 3 checking accounts. One for bills and where all the income is funneled into, and 2 separate checking accounts. The reason why I stress 2 separate checking accounts is because I have always had people sit at my at my desk and try to figure out why their banking account is overdrawn because one person's because 2 people are using the same account and they're not keeping track of the balance. One person wanted to buy a pair of shoes, the other one wanted to get lunch or gas, and we just don't know they don't know where the issue lied because there's a lack of communication. Then you allocate how much each person can spend a week or bi-weekly into separate checking accounts for each person. I stress this that way, you guys, you won't have overdrawn checking accounts. So you won't be trying to figure out who spent what, why they spend this. That way you can kind of you have to put each other on a budget and put each other on allowances if that's what you have to do to ensure that your finances are staying straight. Have those separate savings accounts. Each child should have their own savings account. If you have a child 4 and up and they don't have a savings account yet, I'm going to be questioning why. Teaching your children how financial responsibility is very important, and also saving for your children. Saving for their colleges, saving just for when they turn 18 and they need to buy a car and things like that. It's important to be financially responsible for our children. It's important to see your money, see where it's going, pay attention, use online banking, use the services that are available to you to help keep your banking accounts balanced. Last but not least is knowing what's on your credit report. You guys, if it's scary, you still need to know what's on that credit report. Check your credit reports once a year for free from each credit bureau and stay on top of it. Know what your debts are and start to pay those debts off. Don't go to a debt consolidation program. Deal with your creditors yourself. They are more than likely going to splice those debts in half if they're already charged off on your credit report. They're more than likely work with you to get some money out of you. Debt consolidation companies usually get a small fee, and it's usually not the best way to go about it. Things are going to stay on your credit report even if they're charged off, but if you can pay them off and get a letter from them, you're more than likely to have more credit worthiness from another company than using a debt consolidation company. And then making budgets, making your grocery list, sticking to your budget, sticking to your financial goals. It's very important, guys. I mean, I can't stress enough how many people I know just let their finances go haywire. They feel like they're not making enough money, so they don't feel like they need budgets and they need goals. But even if you're making little next to nothing, in your opinion, in my opinion, I think that you still need goals and you still need budgets, and you will start to see your assets grow. You'll start to see your savings grow, and you'll start to notice that you have more money than usual. If you need a second income, try to think about starting a small business with your hobbies and your goals, or taking on a second job. That way you can achieve those financial goals. It's just important to be on top of our shit. And that's just the most simplistic way I can put it for you guys. That's all for now. Thanks for watching Tea with T. I really appreciate all the views and all the positive feedback, and even the constructive criticisms. I welcome it all. So let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. If you want my budget template, email me or comment below with your email and I'll go ahead and send it to you. Thanks for watching Tea with T, guys. I'm out.